I'm Gavin Bain. I'm the author of California Schemin, which is out in April. California Schemin is about myself and my best friend's attempt to con the music industry and succeeding, but then going through many downfalls. We were told in, I think it was 2001, that we would never make it. We went to a record industry audition for they were looking for the next Eminem, and we were a Scottish rap group at the time, and we were really confident. We thought we were the best around. We did this audition, 15 seconds, 30 seconds in, and they started laughing at us. Basically, they call us the rap and proclaimers. They make fun of us. It's horrible. 13-hour bus journey back to Scotland. Heartbroken. Takes us about a year to discover what we're going to do. Eventually, I decide, you know what, we're not going to take no. You know, we're not going to settle for that. But we knew we kind of had started to think their way that we couldn't make it as Scottish artists. You know, why were they laughing at us? Would we always be a parody? So I thought, why don't we'll change everything. We'll be reborn in London as Americans, and we'll see what happens then. And it kind of always started off as a bit of a lark, but it just kept going to the next stage. It was just literally just put the American accent to our music, and it was, you know, it was authentic now. It was great. It was they are the next Eminems. They're better than Eminem, you know. And it didn't take long. Things just happened, you know. Rumors spread throughout the industry really quick that these two Americans were here to take over. It didn't take long. We had a massive manager within a few weeks, and within half a year we were signed to Sony, all as these fake Americans. And no one ever, at any one point, people could have asked us, you know, what was your area code back home, or they could have judged us, you know, could have asked these really tricky questions. What grade did you end school? And we had no idea about American culture from anything other than what we'd seen on TV, music videos. So we just kept going, and eventually, the kind of pressure of the lie kind of tore our friendship apart. Silibil N Brains had a really harsh lesson to learn. I decided to write the story pretty much a couple days after I came clean on stage. A good friend of mine who was the head of video at Sony, I got really close to him, and he had told me that this was an amazing story. I'd never really thought of it that way. He said, you know, you definitely need to write this, screenwrite it. So I started trying to screenwrite a movie first, and it was just too much to fit in. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do with the story. I was still trying to work out a lot of it. So at first I kind of wrote a journal of like about 300,000 words of what I'd just done. And in that, I started to realize that actually this is an incredible story. I can't believe I've done all this stuff. And then, you know, I think about a few months after writing all that, I decided I actually really want to write this as a proper book and get it published. Mostly to make sense of it all, to get over it and to move on to the next stage of my life. There's loads of highs. There's stuff like signing a record deal. There's meeting your heroes, Madonna and Eminem. But obviously one of the biggest highs is going on the road with D12, who were, for us, the best in the game at the time. And we all only ever wanted to be the best. So playing Brixton Academy was something we dreamed about like our whole lives. You know, you go from playing in Dundee and around Scotland, you go from playing like the maximum you'll ever play like 500, and that's like wow. And then all of a sudden, you know, you're in London playing Brixton Academy with D12 to 5,000 people, and you know it's enough to blow your mind. But even that, I wouldn't say was my highest, my best moment. Probably the best moment, we played a festival, Naz Fest. It's just like a skateboarding fest, but that's who you really, you know, that was us, who we were, who we really were, and we got to connect with all these kids. But the best moment was we headlined this stage over people like Gnarls Barkley and stuff. We headlined, and it was 2,000 kids, and we got them all to scream, "Kill George Bush." And when we watched the footage back, I nearly cried because, you know, you just hear in this airplane hangar, you know, thousands of kids screaming "Kill George Bush," and that was just around the time of, you know, his running for election. So that was like for me the best moment. Don't know why that just always sticks in my head. Some of the best moments are kind of also double as some of the worst moments, because with signing a record deal, like I was just writing about this the other day as well for Esquire, and I just kind of keeps jugging my memory of how crap it felt as well, because we were signing this record deal as other people, not us, so we couldn't really fully enjoy what we were doing. We knew it was like, wow, we finally got to this point, you know. And as an artist, most artists see that as the pinnacle of their career. They shouldn't, but we got there, and it was like really sad that we had to be some other people, you know. But obviously that's not like the worst. There's so many like really terrible lows. Like obviously Silibil N Brains ending, but the period just after Silibil N Brains for the next year, it just seemed like, you know, I was like death, and just this hell ride just wasn't going to end. It was going low and low and low, and then obviously, you know, a suicide attempt and stuff. So stuff like that was the hardest stuff to write. It's the hardest stuff to think about and look back at. But I think it's kind of, and it's taken writing and all that stuff and reading it back. It's horrible to read some of that stuff back, but it's taken that to kind of get over that. Yeah, I kind of, because I'm in this band now, and because of finding Hopeless Heroic, I think it made me realize, it makes me look back on the past and be okay with it. I think if I didn't have this project that makes such great music that's so kind of honest and real, if I didn't have that, I would have hated myself. I would have always thought I was a fake, no matter how, you know, truthful I was being. I would have always looked back at the past and thought that was ridiculous, you know. But now I can look back because of that, you know, this is kind of like my credibility, like reborn, you know. Now I can look back and laugh at that and say, well, look, we had a fun time. You know, there's a lot of bad stuff happened, but we had a great time, you know. I think if there wasn't this project I'm doing now, it would have been a horrible ending. You know, for me, the story actually doesn't have an ending without this kind of rebirth and this, you know, the completion of the journey of kind of like self-discovery and what you really like about music, you know. And that's what I think it essentially is this journey of an artist finding themselves, even though, you know, it takes a little detour through hell and insanity to do so. But sometimes, you know, when you do that, you know, you finally get to this point where you're so happy and you realize what you're doing. It takes all that crap to kind of realize what you're capable of, you know. And that's pure happiness, is finding that point, like, wow, I'm capable of all that.